And this is Ken Kreitzer for CamVetsMedia, another edition of the Army Football Huddle by CamVetsMedia. And tonight I'm up at the Hall of Fame area at West Point. Just had a chance to watch practice and talk to Cale Helms, Jacob Tuioti, and also got a chance to talk to Army offensive coordinator Cody Worley. And everybody's in a very positive frame of mind, coming off the Kansas State win, a week off, and then a good week of practice that they are undertaking to play North Texas here at Mikey Stadium on Saturday afternoon. Okay, now let's welcome our team who are on the line tonight. And from the Beat Navy studio in Huntsville, Alabama, Colonel Sam Houston. Colonel, how are you?
I'm great, Ken. Going to kick off American Athletic Conference competition this week, and I'm doubly excited knowing that we're going to be rejoined by Steve Shalhoub tonight.
Yeah, glad Steve, former Army football player, offensive lineman, join us again tonight. Look forward to that. And from West Palm, Florida, we've got Richard Miller. Richard, how are you?
Very well, Ken. Nice to be here, and good to see Steve back.
Okay, thank you, Richard. And from Long Island, we have our sideline reporter, Chuck Donegan. Chuck, how are you?
I'm great, Ken. How about you?
Okay, anytime I'm at West Point, I'm feeling good. And
There you go.
So glad you're able to join us. And
Good to be here.
from Minnesota, we have Stephanie, our producer, getting us on the air tonight. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really hungry right now.
Okay. Okay. Okay, well, let's get down to it. We just talked a little bit with Cale Helms. He's feeling good. He said it was kind of the best game he's had since some big games he had in high school. And talked to Cody Worley. He just felt very confident about Cale Helms and its performance. And really, I asked the offensive coordinator a little bit about what we talked about last week. Was it kind of simplifying the offense that led to Cale Helms rushing the ball 41 times? He said no, but it was a lot of decisions, pass run options that Cale had the option to make, and just the way the game went. But they said they really don't want to run the quarterback that many times a game. Sam, what are your thoughts now you've had a week to reflect on the Kansas State win and think about this big game coming up at home against North Texas?
Right, and it is a big game, and we'll talk about the Mean Green here shortly. But the number one thing that I wanted to mention as a follow-up from our huddle last week was very happy to hear the definitive announcement that Cale Helms would be the starter this week. And one of my big concerns coming out of last week was that there might be a quarterback controversy as Dwayne Coleman improves and becomes more healthy. I really think that Cale Helms earned the starting role. And as a side note, we agreed last week that Cale can't be running the ball 41 times every game. But I think that one thing that we do know about Cody Worley's offense is that in the reads that are made by the quarterback, the person who is taking the snaps needs to be durable enough to run the ball 41 times if he has to, a la the Kansas State game. So that being said, I expect that this team will continue to improve on its confidence, especially along the offensive line. And you're going to see with one game under his belt, I really believe that Helms is going to continue to improve his game above what he did with Kansas State and bring this offense more into maturity and just in time for American Athletic Conference games. Now, the defense, on the other hand, they've got their hands, they're going to have their hands full. And again, we'll talk about North Texas here shortly. But I was glad to see that Tuioti and Gemma were able to be the next men up for Cody Harris Miller last week, and be able to bottle up the inside line to allow Army to control the line of scrimmage to the point of holding Kansas State to 70 yards of rushing offense, which forced them into their passing game. And we know in the second half, their passing game was rusty because the number one defense is time of possession. And I really do believe a key to this game coming up on Saturday is once again going to be, can Cale Helms and the offense keep the North Texas Mean Green offense off the field? Because that is going to be critical in winning this game.
Okay, well, thank you, Sam. And Chuck Donegan, do you have a thought as we reflect on the Kansas State win, had a week off, and now go into a game against North Texas on Saturday?
Well, Ken, I hope they can keep up their momentum. I will say, certainly was a close loss, their home opener a couple of weeks ago, but I think got back into the groove of things in the road game against Kansas this week, as we saw. So, yeah, it's my hope they'll continue with that, give a strong performance, and hopefully won't get themselves hurt on the field like they did in the season opener. Quite a few injuries in the second half, as I recall. So I think if they, definitely stay focused, keep their eye on the prize, should be another good week for them.
Okay, very good. And one thing in practice today is that one of the freshman quarterbacks for Army, God's Power Wawehu, was lining up as a running back, as a slot back, which could get him on the field a lot faster. He showed some promise in the August practices, but he will be taking snaps as a running back, I guess, for the balance of the season. And that may be a good way to get him on the field. Look like a player with a lot of speed. Not a lot of experience, of course, but we might see him get a snap or two in the game on Saturday against North Texas. Where's number 7 for Army?
Yeah, I've got to say this. I got to say this. I'm sorry.
Good.
It's just good to know we've got God's power on our side.
We have God's power on our side for sure. We did a talk, very sharp young man, and glad to see that move. Okay, we talked, listened to Coach Munkin a little bit today. He was very complimentary of North Texas, so what they've done in going out to a 3-0 start. And looking at one of the things that Coach Worley was talking about was the defensive coordinator that joined their staff this year from Stephen Austin, and brought several players with him. In fact, I think he said he brought 6 players from Sam Houston, Sam's alter ego school, and Skylar Cassidy. And Cody Worley was very complimentary of the defensive coordinator for North Texas. Sam, this is a good team Army's going to be playing on Saturday. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so far this season, North Texas has borne out to be looking like they're one of the elites of the American Athletic Conference. And speaking of defense, their defense has risen to the occasion this season so far. They're only giving up 13 points a game. 3 games into the season, they've already registered 7 sacks. They give up an average of 104 yards a game rushing, and only a paltry 129 yards a game passing. So 3 games into the season, we're looking at a team on defense that has been giving up maybe 233 yards a game total, and they've been forcing a lot of turnovers. North Texas comes into this game with a +6 on turnover ratio. And the only game that they played where they were a little bit suspect on defense, and that was against the run, which bodes well for Army, was in the Eastern Michigan game where they won 33-30, but they gave up well over 200 yards rushing in that game. But overall, North Texas defense looks like they're ready to play, and they certainly are going to have they're certainly going to have a chip on their shoulder. Army and North Texas have really played some great games in the Monken era. If you go back to, say, the Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl, for example, that went into overtime, and then as recently as last season down in Denton, Texas, with Bryson Daly carrying the ball 38 times and leading that incredible 21 play 13-minute drive that pretty much consumed the second half, it seemed like, to score the decisive touchdown of the game. So North Texas is going to come to play, and they bring a defense that is drastically improved, but we'll talk about their offense in a minute too, and that's probably what scares me the most.
Yeah, Coach Monken went over the team. They're coached by Eric Morris. His 3rd season at North Texas. He comes out of Washington State. He was the head coach at Incarnate Word, and he's been an offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. He's been at Texas Tech, Washington State, where he coached wide receivers, and is a grad of Texas Tech. They have a quarterback who's played very well, Drew Mestemaker, 66 of 94, no interceptions, 9 touchdown passes, and averaging 254 yards a game. They have running back Mackenzie McGill, 179 yards, average 5.5 yards per carry so far this year. And they have a big linebacker. I think this is who Cody Worley was talking about, Shane Witter, senior, number 7. And so it's going to be a good team coming in. Stephanie, do we have any videos that we're able to upload? No? Okay. Let's go to Chuck. Chuck, why don't you run down last week's performances in the American Conference and the Navy and Air Force?
Certainly can. Yeah, well, tough loss for the Air Force. Defeated by Utah State 49-30, largely due to 5 touchdowns from Bryson Barnes. So certainly gave a top performance, went 287 yards, I might add, while Braden Pegan caught 7 passes for 147 yards, and that included scoring receptions of 54 and 38 yards. Yes, definitely a good one. While over on Navy, that was quite a game as well. Yes, it was. Navy defense held Tulsa to a combined 6-17 third and fourth downs, accumulated their 2nd consecutive get 6 coming up, 2 turnovers, 2 fourth down stops, and 2 3-and-outs. So that definitely was a good one. Yeah, did quite well. They made it 35-17 with 2:05 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Then after defense came up with another 4th down stop. Brandon Chapman scored from 1 yard out with 9 minutes, 7 seconds to go, giving Navy a 42-17 lead. Tulsa did score a touchdown with 6 minutes to go, but didn't help. And Navy will have a bye next week before playing host to Rice, September 27th, Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium.
Very good, Chuck. Thank you.
I think
And
Steve.
Richard, let's go to Chuck. Sam, any comments on that?
Well, I think probably the biggest disappointment, if I could talk about another service academy losing as a disappointment, But if I just lift myself up to the non-biased level and just look at both of the service academies, Air Force and Navy, probably the biggest disappointment was Air Force. I believe they went into the Utah State game favored. It was an away game, I understand. They let the game get away from them, and they ended up on the losing side of the game, and it just showed that Air Force is still kind of in a rebuilding mode. But I did want to say, from the Army fan perspective, don't assume that because Air Force lost the game that they're not going to be ready come the first Saturday of November out in Colorado Springs. As far as Navy's concerned, here's some things to note about Navy. They're not perfect. They started the game. I think their first three drives were turnovers, and they got into a 14-point deficit early in the game. I think probably the scary part about Navy is the fact that they're good on offense and they're very confident, and they did not flinch. And once they got control of the ball and stopped turning it over, they pretty much went on a 42-9 run for the rest of the game and ran away with it. So they're confident. Navy's got some real playmakers on offense. We know about Horvath. They've got Teska playing fullback. They got Heidenreich, Mr. Johnny Do Everything on the outside, Mr. Speedy guy who can do just about anything. And they keep these playmakers in space and in the game at all times. So they're running this derivative Delaware wing T stuff, and they've got a year under their belt of running it, and they're doing a really good job at it. So they're a scary team for any team to face.
Okay, Sam, thank you. Richard Miller, let's have your top 5 games from last week.
Okay, my top 5 games from last week were, let's see. Number 4, Oregon defeated Northwestern 34-14. Number 6, Georgia 44-41 over number 15 Tennessee. And also you have, let's see, number 12 Clemson loses to Georgia Tech 24-21. You have number 21 Texas Tech 45-14 over Oregon State, and number 24 Auburn 31-15 over South Alabama.
Very good. Thank you, Richard. Okay, now we're getting into prep for North Texas. As Sam was saying, a team that Army has had some real heated games with. Army came away with a nice win at North Texas and Denton, Texas last year. And it's going to be quite a test. They're coming in with a lot of confidence, 3-0. Sam, when you look at who they played Lamar. They won at Western Michigan in overtime, and then beat up on Washington State at home 59-10. I don't know how good Lamar is, who they defeated 51-0. Have they really been tested yet this year, do you feel?
Yeah, they were by Eastern Michigan. Like I said, that was a 33-30 win for them. They gave up a lot of yards on the ground. But in the Washington State game, Washington State didn't do themselves any favor. They turned the ball over a lot. I don't remember how many times exactly, but I think they had 4 or 5 turnovers, and that allowed the game to get a little bit out of hand early. But to North Texas's credit, they kept their foot down on the accelerator pedal and just ran away with it. Just stomped a P4 team, and it never was close. And so that kind of a victory not only looks really well for the American Athletic Conference, it also looks really well for North Texas, and builds a lot of confidence for their team to be able to defeat a P4 team that, just in recent years has been pretty good. So they're definitely going to be coming into Michie Stadium soaring with confidence. And I'm trying to get Steve Shalhoub to jump back on. Somehow he got bumped off.
We have Steve with us.
Yeah,
He's
he's been
on.
with.
All
Is he
right.
back on?
Yep.
All right.
We got Steve Shalou, our friends from Army football, former offensive lineman for the Black Knights. And Steve, do we have you? Do you have your video on?
I do.
There he is. Yay.
Steve?
There he is. Good to see you back.
Yeah.
And what's your impression of the season so far for Army? Tough opener, but then a tremendous win at Kansas State 10 days ago.
Yeah, Ken. So I don't know what kind of team we have yet, right? We this is the week that we will find out who truly Army is. Got a quality opponent coming in. Probably has a little bit of a chip on their shoulder from what we did last year. We ran that ball hard on them, and we controlled the clock, and I don't want to say embarrassed them, but we imparted our will on them in Denton, Texas last year. I was at that game. You know, that first week we were a little bit. I was shocked by that game. We should have won that game by all counts. Then we went into Kansas State, and each week that passes by, we're finding out that Kansas State isn't who we thought Kansas State was. I mean, they were ranked coming in, and then, they lost to Iowa State, and then lost to us, and then they lost again last week. So I really don't know who we are yet. I'm excited about having Helms as coming out under center. I think he runs with a little bit more of his butt. He brings he's sort of a mini 13, if you will, on that. So we'll find out whether or not we are ready for prime time as we get into conference play. This is where the rubber meets the road for us, and it couldn't be a tougher opponent coming right out of the gate who has an extra grind with us. So, it's going to be one of our tougher challenges. But if you look at our schedule doesn't let off the entire year. So, and you can never tell with the transfer portal and with NIL and all those other things, teams can change on a dime. So you never really know. And every week that the conference plays, they gel further and further along. The only thing we can't count on is injuries on the opponent's side. But as the season goes on, it'll be tougher and tougher for us. So we've got to, play our best football starting now, and we have to establish our identity, which is a clock controlling, like we did in the second half last week, offense. And we have to, command the line of scrimmage. We've got 2 potential All-Americans on the offensive line, and we need to start blocking and continue to block as if that is true. And then the rest of the offensive line need to step up, and we need to control the line of scrimmage. So that's where we are, and I'm very excited. I am cautiously optimistic, but this will be one of our biggest challenges of the season, and it will set the tone for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Yes, Cody Worley was saying the offensive line made a big improvement from week 1 to week 2. And looking specifically, you got the 2 potential Americans, as you said, Brady Small and Paolo Generali at right guard. You've got Will Jeffcoat at left guard, who has experience from last year, but you have Henry Appleton and Teddy Williams, who are relatively new, joining the starting offensive line. How do you feel like this line is performing so far?
It's a little early to tell. I was very disappointed the first game because we didn't fire off the ball like we needed to. And I think with Helm, our mentality changes more towards attack versus being a little bit more finesse. And that suits us better. If we think back a couple of years when we played Coastal Carolina and we came out and we attacked in a season that we were kind of up and down offensively, we offensive linemen want to attack, and they want to be on. They want their knuckles turning white as their hands in the grass because they're leaning forward. They're not worried about pass blocking. They're not worried about other things. They want to attack. And we did a better job against Kansas State. In the second half, there's no argument on that. So I'll be very anxious to see, how the line further comes along. But, it pales in comparison to where we were last year. But we've got to get we've got to find that groove. And if anybody's going to do it, Coach Vidi's the person. He's the guy that's going to bring them together, and he's going to get them to perform. And if you remember last year's offensive line, all 5 starters started together the entire year. So that's unprecedented. That's unheard of. And when you have that type of continuity and type of gel, you're obviously going to do great. So this team, this line needs to further gel, and with success will breed more confidence, and I think we'll be in a whole lot better shape. Again, I can't emphasize enough how much of a turning point that this season is. This game is. This is really going to set the tone.
Okay, and let's go through thoughts on North Texas. We heard a little bit from Sam. Steve, what are your thoughts on the North Texas game? They have looked pretty good on offense. Coach Munkin talked about in his remarks today, their quarterback Drew Mestamaker, 66 of 94, no interceptions, 9 touchdowns, throwing for 254 yards a game, and an outstanding running back, Mackenzie McGill, 179 yards, averages 5 yards per carry. It looks like North Texas has got quite an offense.
Yeah, North Texas definitely is talented across the roster. A lot of transfers on defense. They're starting 7 transfers, and they've got 4 transfers on offense. The quarterback, redshirt freshman, got a little bit of time last year, but he's throwing at a 70% clip. So obviously we've got to provide pressure up front on him, give him less time to make plays. We got to get in his face. We haven't really done a great job. We didn't do anything on the opening game in terms of pressure. We did a little bit better against Kansas State, but we need to be able to get pressure up front. And when a quarterback, if we're holding on to the ball and commanding the time of possession, that's when quarterbacks get tight, because we're limiting the number of possessions that they have. And you couple that with pressure, we can make some turnovers happen, because quarterbacks will start forcing. When they start forcing plays, that's when they make mistakes. So we've got to, trust the process and really attack that line of scrimmage defensively on their offense and try to disrupt their rhythm. They're successful on offense. I mean, heck, they're scoring at over 30 pace. So and they're not playing cream puffs either. I mean, Washington State's not a cream puff. So we've got to attack that line of scrimmage and disrupt what they're going to do.
Okay, as you were saying, that's Skylar Cassidy, who came from Sam Houston, brought a bunch of players on defense with him, and gives them a lot of potential on defense. Okay, well, let's
and if you remember, I remember, well, now that it's legal, I may have partaken with quite a few betting on an app. And one of the teams I bet on a lot last year was Sam Houston, because I always bet the under. They were always setting the over-under at 42, 40 points, and they were giving up 6 points, right? Their unders hit a lot, and it was a team that I looked at and I watched quite a bit. That defense on Sam Houston was legitimate last year, and he brought those players over together. So they've already gelled a lot, and that coordinator was, and the reason why he got a better job was that he's legitimate. So Sam Houston, they can play.
Okay, thank you, Steve. And let's start thinking about next week. Let's go to Chuck. Chuck, do you think you can run down the games in the American Athletic Conference this week, and also for Navy and Air Force?
You bet, Ken. We have got quite a few good games coming up. Coming up Saturday, we've got Arkansas, Memphis, 12 noon. And then also at noon, South Carolina State versus South Florida, followed by UAB, Tennessee, 12:45. Tulane, Ole Miss, 3:30. Temple, Georgia Tech, 4:30. BYU, East Carolina, 7:30. UTSA, Colorado State, 9:30. Yeah, quite a good lineup. And if you've got access, imagine the DVRs will be set for at least a few of these exciting games.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got.
And do you have what Navy and Air Force have this upcoming week?
Yes, Navy. Okay, has a bye next week. They'll be going against Rice on, the 27th, a week from Saturday, at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. That's at 3:30 p.m. Yeah, should be a good one. I'm sure. Yep. Then, hey, Air Force coming up as well.
Air Force has Boise State.
Boise State.
Boise
That's it.
State.
Boise
Okay,
State.
very good. Very good. A test for Air Force. You know, I got to ask Steve. There was a game in his neck of the woods in South Jersey, actually just over the river in Philadelphia, with Oklahoma going in to play Temple. And I couldn't quite figure out how that game got scheduled. And Oklahoma was disappointed they couldn't play at West Point a few years ago during COVID. And I thought maybe I almost went down to it. But Oklahoma really dominated that game. I think it was about 38-10. Did you follow that game at all, Steve?
I actually bet on the game and I took Oklahoma. So but the you know, they played each other quite a bit recently as of late. So that is something. I don't know if they've got something on the AD side that is a little continuity there or something, or they signed up a home and home, but I believe they played last year too. You know, that was interesting because Temple's improved. Definitely Temple has improved, but I mean, I think and Chuck, two things. One, you strike me as a Betamax guy, not a DVR guy,
Can't argue with that.
and then the Tulane game is going to speak volumes for us, and we ought to be watching that Tulane game very, very closely. If they give Ole Miss a handful, and all indications that they will, they could be the leader in the clubhouse to be the AAC somebody in the championship game. So that is something to watch very, very closely. And we head down to Tulane, obviously, to play them down there, and we beat up on them pretty good in the championship game. So I'm going to have one eye on that game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
I thought it would be notable to mention that this past Saturday, Tulane beat Duke. And what's significant about that is that Duke, they paid like $7 million to get Menza out there to be their quarterback. So, you know, the joke going around on memes is that Duke, $7 million to get Menza just to lose to Tulane. So, yeah.
That's amazing that a young quarterback. We talked to him after the loss to Army in the championship game in the American Conference. Very sharp young man, but that's something. You got $7 million to go. Do you think that's for 1 year, or do you think that was? I mean, now you have contracts. Now it's like in college football.
I don't think that was for 1 year.
No.
Okay, so he has a contract now to play.
It's almost
okay.
incredible.
Okay, let's see. Richard Miller, what are 5 big games coming up on the college football schedule that you'll be following?
5 big games on the college football schedule coming up this week will be, let's see, we have got, according to the games, let's see, we have got, let's see, number 6 Oregon taking on Oregon State. That's a 3 o'clock start. Also a little bit later, you've got, actually at the same time, number 24 Notre Dame taking on Purdue. That's also at 3:30. You've got Florida taking on number 4 Miami. That will be a 7:30 game. And of course, you've also got, let's see, number 21 Michigan taking on Nebraska. That will be also a 3:30 game. And the final game of, let's see, the last game of the day will be UAB taking on number 15 Tennessee. That will be a 12:45 start.
Okay, of course, Army will be playing down at Alabama, Birmingham in a couple of weeks after next Thursday's game, which will be at East Carolina. So a lot of football for Army. The coaches kind of mentioned is that they they've had to do some of the preparation over the bye week for East Carolina because it's going to be a short prep week with a Thursday night game. Sam and Steve, what are your thoughts on Army playing a Thursday night game? It kind of disrupts, the academics that the players have, class schedules. But it does give the program a lot of visibility. What are your thoughts on it? Maybe Sam, do you like it?
Well, I mean, it's great visibility for Army. You're right. This is going to be a televised, like a nationally televised game because it's Thursday night. I don't think East Carolina got a bye, so East Carolina did not get an extra week to prepare for this. So they have a short week just like Army does, but this is going to be like to kick off the American Athletic Conference schedule with North Texas, and then just a mere 5 days later, East Carolina. Army couldn't have rolled the dice and had a tougher beginning to their American Athletic Conference schedule. I mean, this is really tough. And so it's very fortunate for Army that they did have a bye week because it did afford them a little bit of extra time to do some extra preparation for East Carolina while they were getting ready for the North Texas game. It gave the opportunity for some players to heal up. As we know from the roster that was released for the North Texas game, we've got some key players that are still out, like Cody Harris Miller. But Army is really going to have to be locked down, focused for their North Texas preparation for this Saturday, and not turn on their East Carolina focus until the game is over, and then they can lock down on East Carolina. But this is a really tough test. And as Steve very eloquently pointed out when he started making his comments, is that we don't know where this Army team is yet because Kansas State is not the team that we thought they were. And I'm not distracting from the fact that Army did go into a Big 12 home field and beat them, but the team is not as good as what they were projected to be. And these next two games are really going to tell us they're going to tell us War and Peace thick volumes about where this Army team, the 2025 Army team, really is.
Okay, Steve Shalou, do you have a thought on that? Army going to have a chance to play on a Thursday night.
Well,
how does that sound to you?
well, I don't, Thursday night games are great for that exposure. It also gives, with a short week, it gives you a long week to get prepared for the next game. So that's the benefit of that. East Carolina got to come off of BYU, and that's no cream puff either. So that they're going to be coming off of that game. So that's going to be important for them. We played a Thursday night game last year on the road in Temple, right at Temple. So they scheduled us 2 years in a row on the road, didn't do us any favors on that. And I'm a firm believer, even in the NFL, and if the schedulers can figure this stuff out, which they should be able to do. And if you look at Army schedule, because we play, into December with Navy, we have a couple bye weeks. We start early, we finish late. We got a couple of bye weeks that we ought to be able to figure out a way to do a bye week prior to the Thursday night game. And they should do that for the NFL too. It just gives everybody a chance, especially with a team that has to get on an airplane. That makes it so tough to be able to do that. So, but if you think about how Jeff approaches this stuff, like he did against FAU last year, it was 1,000 degrees at that game. And he said, put me in black, right? Put me in black because that's the worst thing you can do. He's like, so what? Let's do it. So put us on an airplane on a Thursday night. He'll figure out a way to rally the troops around that, and they'll be ready to play. Just hopefully we can be in the ice bath enough for the players to be ready to go.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Now let's go down our lightning round on predictions for North Texas and Army on Saturday, 12 noon start at Mikey Stadium. And okay, let's start with Richard Miller. Let's get your prediction first off.
My prediction in this game, I'm gonna take Army in this game. I'm gonna go 31-17 Army. 31-17.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Richard. And let's go to Chuck Donegan. Chuck, what's your thought on Army hosting North Texas on Saturday?
And I think Army's going to pull this one off, but I think it'll be a little bit closer with a 28-21 win.
28-21. Okay. Okay. I think I would be in that realm. Okay, let's go to Steve Shalhoub.
Low scoring affair. It's going to be a backyard brawl. I think there's going to be a lot of special team play with punting. It's going to be a field possession and a field position and a ball possession type situation. I'm 21-20 Army.
What is it? 21 to
20.
20. Wow, 1-point win. Okay, and let's go to Colonel Sam.
That defense just too tough for us for me to think we're going to get into. Again, I don't know who we are, so for us to get into the 30s, I don't think we get there.
Okay, and Colonel Sam Houston, what's your thought?
Wow, Steve, having Steve on the call, it really does force me to think a lot harder than I normally do. I can't knee-jerk react like I was going to just a minute ago after hearing Steve talk, because he's really correct about this game. And something that is underlying this game that I don't think a lot of people realize, but it's been building for the past few years, and that is these two teams do not like each other. This is a real rivalry that's building between the boys from Denton and the Army team. And when they play, it is some real smash mouth kind of football. And they always play close games. So Steve's on top of that. Here's what I would love to see. Well, here's some things that Army's going to have to do. Time of possession, they've got to win it. I would love to see them have, if Army can have 4 drives of 13 plays in this game for touchdowns, Army wins. And I think they're going to do it. They can't make any special teams mistakes. They can't give up a kick return. They can't botch a kick. They can't make any mistakes on special teams, because I really think that special teams is what it's going to come down to this weekend. And I think that it is going to be a punch you in the face game for 4 straight quarters. Time of possession wins. The team that makes the fewest mistakes wins. I think Army's going to win, but it's going to be close. I think it's going to have a little bit more points on the board than what Steve said, but not by much. So I'm going to say Army 24, North Texas 21.
Now to your point,
24-21.
to your point, Sam, with North Texas and they don't like each other, I think there is a tremendous amount of respect for each other.
Absolutely.
I think that I was at that game last year, and there was nothing but pride and respect, and with the fans and the team. I think it's just it's almost brother versus brother, and it's a very healthy rivalry that's bidding, because I've got nothing but respect for that program.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I was at that game too, and it was a really good game. Great affair, and well hosted by the home team.
Yep.
Okay, let's get a prediction from Stephanie.
So I'm just looking at a few things that I wanted to see on versus the history of Army versus North Texas. UNT has only 2 wins, but 6 losses against Army in the football. They are definitely going to come with their A game, because that is not a good stats for the whole thing. And even the win probability is saying it's 54% to 46%. It is going to be a really close game. I agree with Steve that it's going to be like a 1-point game. And I would say his score is pretty close to what I would predict too, 21-20. I'm hoping that the win probability is wrong because I want Army to win. So I'm going for Army, but it's going to be hard.
Okay, you got a score for us?
21-20, just like Steve said.
21-20, okay. And thank you.
Mhm.
I look at it that Cale Helms is going home. He's from Texas. He was talking today about having played in a Texas high school playoff championship game. I think Cody Worley was at one of them. And so I think there's a lot of pride for him. He was all excited to say about starting and playing in front of the Corps of Cadets and how much of a difference that makes. You've got the offense, Noah Short having another phenomenal season, that amazing option pass. But he's the kind of player that just got to get the ball to. And the offensive line, Cody Worley said, had made a huge leap from week 1 to week 2 in their performance. And the defense, really holding Kansas State last week to, I think it was 74 yards rushing out. It was, and passing 172 yards. Nate Woody defenses, they tend to look like they're bending at times, giving the short option, but they're not breaking. Coach Nate Woody's defense, pass coverage has been phenomenal. So I think Army is going to have a good day on Saturday. I think it's going to be a big crowd at Michie Stadium, with people coming out, having seen the Kansas State win. And so I wrote down 24-17. I think Army will score 3 touchdowns, kick a field goal, and will hold North Texas to 17. So I'm going 24-17. So any other thoughts on before we break for tonight?
I wanted to mention 2 things. One intangible about this weekend is that Army coming off of a loss at the start of the season at Michie. That is a little bit of a chip. That was a very disappointing loss, and Army is going to be defending their house this Saturday. So I really think that's going to be a little bit of an extra bit of octane in their tank this Saturday. Second thing, some news that came out today, the Charlotte game, a sellout. I think that it's been a while since I've seen a Michie Stadium game sell out and been announced as a sellout in advance. So I'm excited about that because that also happens to be the Sprint Football Alumni Reunion weekend. I will be there, and I say that because, Steve, that means I'm going to be coming by your tailgate.
Okay, I think the last sellout at Michie Stadium that I recall, other than Air Force probably last year, was the Wake Forest game a couple of years ago.
Now remember, we have less capacity, so a sellout.
That is true.
Well, it's about 30,000.
Yeah, we're down on capacity, right? So
although I was looking at the new construction on the east stands, and all the steel is in, the roof is on, they're putting the flooring in, and so no, Steve, they're getting your seats ready over there. So they'll be down pretty soon, but it's really starting to look extraordinary. And the one thing about those stands, they are right on top of the field. They are going to be, they're very vertical, but they're right over the field. So it's going to be a great view of the game from those new seats in the east stands are building. Okay,
and I had the opportunity to tour the stands not too long ago. What struck me is just how deep the concourse will be from the front of the stadium and also all the way back to Lush Reservoir. So there's going to be a lot of room for getting that feel game day feel. That's going to be with restaurants and beer now, food, and
Hey.
all that other stuff, right? So it's incredible. It is pretty vertical, but it's also very deep. So that's going to set forth a really great venue for that. Looking forward to that next year. One last thing, Ken, is we get treated to a Thursday night AAC opener with Charlotte playing against Rice. So we should be all out front of the TV sets to scout Charlotte when they play against Rice. Rice is a little bit improved, but we'll get to see who Charlotte is on that game. And most of the AAC is kicking off this week, so we can start seeing what we got coming up against us.
Yeah, as we go into the conference season, but certainly what a lift to the team, winning in front of 52,000 people at Kansas State, and a lot of Army soldiers. I got a chance to visit Fort Riley and Fort Leavenworth out there last week. Two very impressive Army facilities, and the emergence of Cale Helms, the play that he performed, and then really the defense also played well. Okay, so let's break, and we will see you all at Mikey Stadium on Saturday. Hopefully a big crowd and a very competitive football game, as we've all described. So let me go around and thank everyone. Chuck Donegan from Long Island. Chuck, thank you.
My pleasure, Ken.
And Richard Miller in West Palm, Florida. Thank you, Richard.
I'm almost done.
And we've got
Thank you.
sure, thank you, Richard, and Colonel Sam Houston from the Beat Navy Studio in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, it was a great night having Steve back on with us. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining us. And go Army, beat the Mean Green.
Okay, and as you said, Steve Shalou from South Jersey, thank you for joining us. Good to have you back.
Let's see what we got this weekend. Going to be excited. It's either going to be we're either going to be pleasantly surprised or we might be lamenting. I'm feeling good about it though.
Okay,
Our boys always rise up. They always rise up.
I am too, and lovely Stephanie, thank you for your help in getting us on the air today.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, thank you all. And again, this is Ken Kreitzer for CamVetsMedia. I had the pleasure of being in the Hall of Fame area at Mikey Stadium at West Point, and appreciate that opportunity. And so again, this is CamVetsMedia. We cover cadets, midship, and the military and veterans proudly since 2008. And this is the Army Football Huddle. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at Mikey Stadium on Saturday. Thanks. Have a good evening.